Dude, so did you find a picture of that Gaylord Snow jersey or no?
Yeah. So I found one that yeah, I did. It was I had to, so they just changed their team name
I know
and
they moved out of Gaylord 3 weeks ago. They moved
to
to a
Alpena.
town that's 40 minutes away, Alpena, yeah.
Yeah, it's a closer town to the guy that
Whoa, whoa, I think you just muted yourself.
so yeah, they moved out of Alpena that or out to Alpena, and the guy that ran the team, this is the jersey over here.
Kind of nasty
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
it
wait.
was
Wait, which one is it?
on the
The white
left,
one?
the white one.
the white one.
What's the logo there? The stick's going right through it.
I think it says
The, yeah,
Gaylord.
yeah, it's like a abominable snowman. I don't know what the hell is going on with the screen right now, guys. Sorry.
Is that you? That looks like a picture from
Yeah,
1980, bro, that year.
yeah, I'm a little kid there, and but no, the dude, the gloves were like there's some rival brand. I've never heard of them, and honestly, the worst gloves I ever wore in my life.
I thought you were about to plug rival. Like, man, I never wore them,
No,
but they were fantastic.
he just
No,
put him out of
honestly,
business.
it, like just blocks on your hands, and that was the only issue. But it was the most fun I've ever had playing hockey in my life. Honestly, it was just it brought fun back to the game for me playing there.
Oh, dude,
What is it? Yeah,
we're
what is it? The Michigan Independent Hockey League?
Yeah, so it was that year was the first year there was a team there, and the first year the league was even started, and there was only I'd say 3.5 teams. One of them was a prospects team that had like 6 guys every time we played them, so it was like just shinny for them, just out there the whole time, bagged towards the end of the game. It was awful.
Oh, dude, that's so funny because I got a buddy that's from Gaylord, Michigan. And I asked him, I said, hey, Gilshaw, what is the Gaylord Snow? And he's like, I don't know, man. It's like a team that was here. They actually just moved 3 weeks ago. I think it's pro. I don't know if they get paid. He was like very unsure about it, but he said it was not the best hockey. I mean, you had 22 points in 6 games, bro.
Yeah, it was fun. My brother and I were on a line together, and it would like we just had a blast.
I was
Like
gonna ask. I
yeah,
was
he
gonna
would
ask if that's
come
your
up
brother.
from. Oh
Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna ask because on Elite Prospect, it has like your relatives. He's not
yeah.
like your brother on Elite Prospects. They
Oh
have
really?
they have your uncles. I think like Bobby Davis or something like
Yeah,
that, and they don't have your brother. But I went and saw the Gaylord Snow to see who else was on the team, and I saw Cade Lambdin. You both had 22 points in 6 games.
yeah. It was a blast. It was just like we both like kind of play the same game, just fly around, and it was a lot of guys out of like D3 club. So like they were there for a good time, and like I said, they brought fun back to the game for me. It was just the most fun hockey I've ever had. But yeah, we would just fly around. And he always says like he was just feeding off of me. The only reason he had it was because of me, or whatever. But but he's actually a pretty good player, and we just
Let
tore
me
it up.
I want to get into more of like the Gaylord Snow and also like your brother. I saw he's still playing and he's younger than you. But real quick, let me just read an intro before. I mean, we already got started, but I'm just going to read this intro anyway. Joining us today after wrapping up his third year pro is a NAL alum, USHL alum, Michigan State alum, Gaylord Snow legend, solid golfer, two-time Kelly Cup champ with the Florida Everblades, and Ireland's dad, Logan Lambdin. Welcome to the Buzz Pod. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thanks for having me.
But no, we've been talking a little bit about the Gaylord Snow, but your brother, he plays now. I saw he's in the Federal League. He's a 99.
Yeah, so he'll fight anyone in the world, man. He's an absolute nut job. But he's
Perfect.
so he yeah, he just last year was his last year. He just retired. But he it was hilarious. Like in that league, the MIHL, we would like one guy would get hit, we'd be flying across the ice grabbing a guy. Like I got hit a couple of times, and all of a sudden he'll be flying across the ice, breaking my stick across the guy's back, and just jumping on top of a guy that's like 6'8". But
Respect.
Yeah, dude, he's a fucking nut job, but he's a hell of a time. He just had a kid as well.
Oh, nice.
So he's enjoying the dad life and the work life now
Nice.
instead of playing hockey.
Let's before we hit your childhood, let's talk a little bit about this this Kelly Cup. I mean, 2-time Kelly Cup run.
I talk about the first year you won, and then it was a massive turnover to the next year you won, where like the entire leadership core, except for one guy, was basically replaced, and you were one of those guys that replaced them. So I think we should start with the first year, you joining the defending champs, and then repeating with like an entirely new roster almost.
You
Yeah,
joined
so
you joined the team with 12 games left. You 5 goals, 5 assists in the regular season, 10 points. Just saying.
thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. Pump my tires a little bit.
Yeah.
But dude, it was crazy. Like, I mean, that leadership core, I learned so much from them.
The
And then
leadership core, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Leadership core of John McCarron, Ben Masella, Steph LeBlanc, Nathan Perkovich. Maybe you didn't play with Perky. I think that was my last year, but
yeah, he was there before.
those big.
But I met
Blake
Perky,
Winicky.
yeah, worked with him a little bit. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that core was crazy. Just, I mean, how they brought a group together to, you know, want to fight for each other on the ice. It was awesome. I learned so much, like just how to keep a core tight. And it was really cool to learn from them and then be able to, you know, be a part of the leadership core this year and kind of implement some of their, you know, leadership ways to win another championship with the group we had. There's so much turnaround though. It was, I mean, even like just throughout the year, we were losing guys left and right, you know how it is, but it's nuts that, you know, we were able to do it twice, let alone 3 times. I mean, you know, Ralphie has his ways sometimes, but you know, the guy just knows how to win and do it consistently.
Yeah, he does, man. It's crazy. But talk about just joining a new team, winning the cup. I think that second season, you guys were pretty much favorites again, like the year before. But
No.
last
Yeah,
season,
we were
Last
we
year
were,
they weren't even in the playoffs coming into the last weekend. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I mean, even that year when I got in, we were between 4th and 5th place, and we just got into playoffs. But
oh, really?
yeah, so yeah, we were one of the last teams to get in our division, and once we got in, I mean, our confidence, like within our leadership group, was, I mean, we basically knew we were going to win games, which was, or win series, I guess we should say. But like we never had like came from behind in the series. We always had the lead in series. It was, I mean, a big turnaround from the time I got there to the time that the season started, because like McCarron just came back a week before I got there, when I got traded there at the deadline. And then there was a ton of movement with players right before that. Like they brought in a bunch of guys from college and got rid of a bunch of guys. And then it was like, once we got into playoffs, it was like, fuck, we know we're winning games. Like we know we're winning these games. And it was just like the confidence in the locker room just turned over onto the ice, and you knew it.
Wow. Is that something that you kind of carried over into this year? Because again, you guys were fighting to the last second, and at one point people were saying the Everblades aren't going to be in playoffs, and then next thing you know, I mean, you guys win it again.
I know. So that was we were out of playoffs actually with 6 games left, and we had to win, I think it was 5 of the 6 games. But the way it played out, I think we actually had to win all 6 of those games at the end of the season. And I was out with a separated shoulder for the last month of the season. A couple other guys were hurt. We ended up trading away, I think with the 6 games left, ended up trading away 4 guys to Cincy. And then I think 2 more guys to Fort Wayne, in hopes of getting Berzola and Wedman. And it was like they came in, I think, with like 3 games left or something, and we ended up winning all 6 games, just barely getting into playoffs. And then in Jacksonville, we ended up going down 3-1, and it was like we had a meeting, you know, at usual meeting, but like after, everyone was just, we almost had the same mindset as we did the year before, but we were just playing, you know, we were playing loose because, you know, pressure wasn't on us. We were down 3-1, and then we ended up just steamrolling right through. And from that point on, coming from behind in a series again, and history.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. And Wedman, he was an acquisition with 6 games left. He ended up getting the Kelly Cup winning goal, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You guys also had an acquisition of Josh Hosang, who actually like played games in the NHL, and like people have heard a lot of stuff about him. Obviously, kind of a loose guy, approaches the game loosely, but a hell of a player. I mean, I saw I don't know if he scored so much, but he had like 13 apples. Talk about like just all the little acquisitions that Ralphie made right before playoffs that just seemed to just work for you guys.
No, as you know, he just has a way of winning, and building a roster in a way that it works. And as long as like everyone can buy in, like Hosang bought in too. Like he's a hell of a player, but like without the system or the right guys around him, he has a hard time, because he's very skilled one-on-one dance guys and all that. But man, he's an incredible skill, and Ralph, like, incredible find by Ralphie. And as you heard, he's a little loose, just kind of goes with the flow, and does what he needs to do. But incredible human as well, like such a caring dude. And you wouldn't expect it, hearing like all the stories or whatever you hear about him from in his past. But yeah, incredible human, and such a caring dude.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. 2-time Kelly Cup champ. Unreal. Z?
Let's talk about how you got there. Your elite prospect starts at 16 under with Victory Honda, but I want to go back before that and talk about your childhood and growing up with 3 other siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, your oldest sister, and just being in a sports house. I watched an interview on you. You played hockey, baseball, soccer, football. Talk about growing up in Michigan and being in a sports house.
Yeah, so my house was really active. Like that was one thing my parents always did, like made sure of us, like go outside, play in the yard, go play sports, use your imagination, whatever it may have been. But yeah, we were always doing something, and whether it's baseball, hockey, soccer, football. I played all those sports, and then main thing was just, with my parents, like I said, just go have fun and go play. And to help me and work on your skills and stuff. But like my dad was always like, if you're going to play the sport, put all your work into it. 10 minutes a day stick handling, shoot 100 pucks a day, all that kind of stuff too. And that's basically just how I was raised. My second house was the rink. I mean, all hockey players that are successful, that's how they are. It's a home away from home. And yeah, that's basically how I was raised. And it wasn't easy with 2 brothers playing hockey. Sister, she figure skated a little bit when we were younger, and then stopped. But yeah, we were always doing something, which, I mean, as you guys know, you guys both have daughters now too. It's not cheap to put your kids in all these sports now and all that. So it was hard to do all that, but my parents basically did anything they could to keep all of us in sports. And it fortunately paid off in the end. Being fortunate enough to still be playing and win the Kelly Cup twice, and just all the memories that are made from the sport.
Absolutely, very well said. Your dad, Lance Lambdin, I was watching the interview. Seems like a very honest guy. That's what he tried to instill into you guys. There was a hiccup when you were about 13 years old, and he had to have a difficult conversation with you about potentially quitting hockey. And I know that there's other kids that play hockey that are in this situation where it's not the most accessible sport. Parents, it's hard to afford, and when you have a packed house like that, it's very difficult. So talk about the conversation that you and your dad had about hockey, and about the dedications that maybe you made after that conversation, that all my eggs are in the hockey basket, Dad, and I'm going to give this everything I got.
Yeah. So, I mean, we went through a hard time where I had to, he had to sit down with me. And I remember the rink we were at Canfield Rink in Dearborn, Michigan. And I came out of the rink, and he's like, hey, I really don't know if you're going to be able to continue to play hockey. We walked out of the rink, had that talk, and, I remember we were walking, turned right out of the rink out to the parking lot, and we were like sitting at the car, and he's like telling me, and it was like just, bawling, crying. I think I'm a kid that, can't do what he loves anymore. And I was very fortunate enough. My coach, Dan Vasquez, which passed away during COVID, he paid for me to play that year. And, my parents, they're like, all right, you're not paying for them. Like we're going to pay you back. So he paid for me to play that year. I was fortunate enough to continue to play hockey, and, I learned a lot like about it. It came to reality how expensive things really are. And, it was a lot more grateful to be able to play the game and really all sports and do anything really at that point a little bit more. But yeah, it was the hardest talk as a kid. And, from there it was, just the drive to get better, just went way up. And yeah, just a lot more grateful for all those little things from that point on.
Yeah, absolutely. He stated every time you would get cut or you didn't make the team, you'd go right to the basement and get your ball, start shooting pucks, and it's cool that he raised an absolute dog like that. What advice could you give to a 13-year-old or maybe a 15-year-old or maybe even a 16-year-old that's in that situation, just for like the mental conversations that you have with yourself? Like, what advice could you give to somebody who is in that situation maybe now?
I always try to tell kids, just, have fun and be grateful, because, you're always going to do your best at whatever you're doing when you're having fun with it. And if you're not having fun with it, what's the point? You're wasting your time, you're wasting your parents' time, all that. Like, so I always just make sure kids, have fun with the work that they're putting in, doing what they enjoy doing, and the success will come. And if you have fun and put in the work, everything that's meant to be will be. And, that's really the biggest message I like to send to kids.
Mhm. Do what you love and call it work. I think
Yes.
Kenny Chesney says that. Um, Very cool. So then, you grew up playing double A hockey most of your life, and then you finally played triple A U16. Was that the first year of triple A for you?
So I played, I think I was 11 years old and 12 years old. I played 2 years of AAA back then, for Victory Honda in Detroit. And then from there, I went back to AA up until I was in 16U. It was my second year 16U. Played 1 year there. Played 1 year in with Bell Tire. My first year 18U. And then from there, I made Port Huron out of an open camp. From there, I got drafted by Bloomington and played, was in and out of the lineup in Bloomington. First year, like real year of adversity, like wasn't sure how to handle it. I was at the coach's door one day. I knocked on his door. He's like, 1 minute, I'm in a meeting. I was about to ask for a trade. And he was in the meeting for too long. I was finally like sitting outside of his door, and I'm like, fuck this. I walked away, and I'm like, it's not meant to be. Like, I'm not asking for a trade. And this was after one kid already asked for a trade, and he was like, I'll get to you when I get to you. If you don't want to be here, if you don't want to play here, I'll trade you when I feel like it, when I have time to. So one guy sat for like over a week after asking for a trade, and then he was finally dished away. But yeah, it was like from that point on, he was like walking away from that door was probably one of the best moments in my hockey career, because from the next year I had
lit it up.
I had a lot of success that next year. It was actually like part of the leadership core that year, and just gained a ton of confidence and found my game a little bit. And
That's really cool.
man, I'm so jealous. I wish when I was knocking on doors to ask for trades, the coach didn't have time for me, and I would have had time to think like you did. Like, what an awesome opportunity that he gave you, and that's something that's so valuable for kids to hear actually coming from you, because a lot of times when adversity hits, especially for the first time, you automatically think the grass is always greener on the other side. I always remember when I was in junior hockey thinking, man, there's so many junior leagues, there's so many junior teams. Like, there's no way that I can't crack a top six on some junior team in some junior league. You know what I mean? Like, the grass is always greener. There's always like going to be opportunity. And at the end of the day, it's like the grass is greener where you water it. Like, if you take the time to water it, it's going to get greener. And if you put in the time and you enjoy the suck, good times are ahead, and that you're the perfect example of it, man.
Yeah, it was actually fun. My first year, we had a coach named Harry Mahood, and we had these heavy, they were like logs. They were the red RBZs. And I was using, back then I used a 75 flex, and they didn't have my curve, or flex. So I was using, I think it was an 85 flex or a 95 flex. It was like, and I cut it down really short too. My coach would sit there with me at the top of the circle. He goes, I want you to pull it around me and go bar down. He would just do the triangle, just stand there, and he would just stare at me and go, nope, not bar down. Nope, not bar down. And just not, he would stand there with me till I hit two in a row. And it would be like, sometimes it would be like 25 minutes after practice, just sitting there, just pulling around, snapping them around him. But yeah, he's another guy that, like, just through my career, like, super grateful, like, spent so much time with me, and just wanted me to be successful as I wanted to be.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I want to rewind just a little bit because this is a big deal. Jumping from Bell Tire U18 to making the null out of an open camp. What was your mindset going into camp? Did you expect to make the team? Talk about that experience.
So I was going to camp since I was, when's the youngest you can go to camp? Like USHL
15.
camp? 15?
Like 15,
Yeah.
yeah.
So from the time I was 15, I was going to Muskegon's camp in the USHL. And like my dad and I would drive across. It was fine. It would be finals week every year. And I'd take my finals early in high school. We would drive across the state to the USHL camps. I'd do the camp, and we drive back. So 15U year, I was doing that. And then I think it was like my 17U or 16U year. So the next year, I started doing the like NOL camps as well. And so I was just really like familiar with the way the camps were by that point. And I ended up lighting it up, had probably a goal and a half at, like, per game throughout the camp, and just ended up catching their eye, and had a few talks with them, got to know them pretty decent. And then they brought me into main camp and found a spot there.
38 points in 59 games, 19 goals, 19 assists as a rookie.
In a tough league to score in too.
Yeah.
Good goalies, but little more looser than the USHL, but still some damn good goalies.
Oh yes. So then you got drafted.
I don't know. Wait, hold on. I don't know if it's looser than the USHL.
You don't think so?
Well, I played only 2 games, and it was a long time ago in the NAL, and I played maybe 10 games total in the USHL, and it was a long time ago as well. But I remember in the NAL, it seemed like as soon as you got the puck, like 10 guys were like, somehow they had 10 guys on the ice for that second that I touched the puck, and they were all like giving me little hacks like every single game.
I guess
literally as soon as you get the puck, it's like there's got to be too many men out here. There's guys at all angles just giving me taps everywhere.
That is true. I guess you are always getting sticks on the wrist in the in the NAL compared to the USHL.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a collarbone destroyer, that league.
Oh yeah, bodies flying everywhere.
So then you talked about your first year in Bloomington where you faced adversity, being in and out of the lineup, staying on the ice after practice, working on your shot, doing all these little things. And then it works out for you because you put up 28 goals your next year. Talk about that season when you came back. And then we ended up playing against each other in the Eastern Conference Finals.
47 points in 58 games in the USHL. Sick.
Found it a little bit. Thanks.
Sick. I have 0 points in my 10 games in the USHL. Tough league.
150 pins though.
Yeah.
Heads.
Yeah.
But you guys kicked us out in the conference final that last year, my age out year. And your game hasn't changed. Maybe a lot more skill, but still the same way.
Yes, sir.
This guy was a USA Player of the Year that year, I think. Was that year?
That was the next year. That was my rookie year. So that was actually my rookie year in Dubuque. And I started the year in Janesville.
Yes, I remember.
And I got called up because some forwards were going to the USA World Junior A Challenge. So the plan was for me to be there for 4 games, 2 weekends, right before Christmas. And then at Christmas, I was going to go home. and or go back to Janesville for after Christmas. And I have 4-game little tryout. I don't score. I don't think I have a point or anything. But after those 4 games, the head coach says to me, he goes, "How would you feel if I traded for you?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't really play that much when I was here. Like I was on the fourth line. Like back in Janesville, I'm on the first line. I'm on the power play. Like I actually really like playing. So I don't think that it would be the best thing for me if you traded for me." He goes, "Well, I just traded for you about an hour ago. So you're going to be here the rest of the year. And don't worry, I won't scratch you the rest of the season." I'm like, "Oh, thanks for
Yeah.
the opportunity. I'm happy to be here."
That's hilarious. And then
Nice
you
little
knock,
turn of events mentally.
and then you knock this guy out of playoffs, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Then we
who do you
lost.
guys play in the finals?
We
CR?
played you guys swept Cedar Rapids and
Oh,
we played Green Bay and then we played you guys and then we went to Tri-City or Tri-City came to
yes.
us
Right.
for the first 2 games, and the duo of Wade Allison and Dan Lebowski had like 12 points in 2 games. They swept us. They beat us in Dubuque like 8-1 and 7-2 in games 1 and 2. We had to jump on the bus for 15 hours to get smoked. In game 3, tickets were free. Tickets were free. So the entire place of Kearney, Nebraska, the entire town of Kearney was in the building. And I think it was like 30 seconds in, they scored and like they just waxed us.
Just
3 games.
turns into a riot inside of there.
Oh man, it was a zoo. And so we lost that year. But then the next year for you is your freshman year at Michigan
Oh,
State.
wait. Before you talk about Michigan State, I actually really wanted to ask this question. You played in Bloomington, Illinois. That's where the new coast team's going to be.
Yeah.
What do you think? How is this going to work out? Because I know when the USHL team was there, I think you guys got no fans, very
Yeah.
little fans. So obviously the coast is different. But I mean, how do you think this is going to play out?
I'm curious. I'm really curious on how this one's going to work out. I think there's a lot of potential in the town. I just don't know if it's a hockey town, like we brought okay fans for a few games, but it was never that good. Maybe a couple hundred fans in the rink at a time.
But is the arena nice? The arena's nice, right?
It's pretty nice rink. I mean, nothing to write home about, but it's it definitely like won't be the worst rink in the league, and definitely, I mean, it might be up there as one of the top 15. But
what about like the area for living and stuff? Is it nice? Is it not so nice? I mean, you are in Illinois.
It's a pretty decent little college town. Yeah, so it's they got their bars, they got their little downtown college area. They got their actual downtown, and then they have like a more of like a suburb type of area as well. So I think there's potential for it to be a decent town. I just don't know about like a decent hockey town.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Going to Michigan State.
Thank you.
So you're obviously from Michigan and you commit to Michigan State University. How did that occur and how special was that moment?
So that was really cool. So I was in Wilmington there, and I was having a good year, and I've kind of had some talk with them since the time I was in Port Huron in the Null, and it just kind of gradually, it kept going, and finally, I think it was like February maybe of my last year in Bloomington, and it was, they were still looking for a few guys on partial scholarships. Everywhere else was basically all scholarships were basically given out, and so they offered me. My sister was going there, and it was her senior year that year. So I was like, I went there, had a pretty good weekend there, and I was like, this has got to be the place. I gotta come here, and I loved it. It was a beautiful college. Good. It was a good time, and we weren't the best team in college. My 4 years, but it was other than that, it was a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I've never met a bad dude from Michigan State. Shout out Tommy Miller, Tommy Apap, and many more, but especially Spank as well. Met him at the APAP fundraiser game. Great
Oh
guy.
yeah, great dude. Yeah, there was a bunch of good dudes my time there, and I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah, that's great. I want to talk about when you were at Michigan State, you were working at Mun Arena. How did that opportunity come about, and what did that all entail? Were you cleaning
Rudy,
the boards?
Rudy,
So Rudy, but
Rudy.
Lambo.
so yeah, we had a really grumpy Zamboni driver there, and I thought it was funny as hell the way he would act, and everyone hated him just because the way he carried himself. But I would mess with him here and there, and him and I got talking. I asked him, I just needed a little extra money through college, and I was like, hey, would you guys like hire me? I heard a couple players in the past were working there, and I ended up. He's like, yeah, let's just sign up on the college website, and we'll go from there. So filled out the application and hired me like the next week. I was in there, and I would be basically just chilling in the exam room, like the office where they chill, and they'd exam the ice. I'd pull the snow off. In the summer we would pull the board, like we had always like replace the boards every summer at MSU. So in the summer they'd pull the ice out, go out, take all the boards off, put new boards on, and a little handyman over the summer.
That's actually
did
unbelievable. You guys are mid practice. Coach is like, hold on, boys. I got to get the Zam guy to redo this. You're like,
I got this.
My skates off.
Dude, there was times where players would be walking in, and I'd be hauling the nets out. They'd be like, hey, Lambo, what are you doing? I'd be like, oh, I've just been working for 3 hours. I'd be chilling in there, getting my homework done, and nets need to go. All right, let's go.
Did he give you any crazy jobs, the grumpy Zamboni driver?
No, he would let me basically do whatever I want. I'd go like work out while we're clocked in and all that stuff, and it was like,
yeah,
he was just so lackadaisical with it. He didn't care. Just let me do as I needed, and
nice.
As long as I did the stuff I actually had to do, which wasn't much, he didn't care.
Nice. You didn't have to clean any bathrooms in the guest locker rooms?
No, they left those for the other workers, I guess.
That's pretty cool.
Man, that's unbelievable. It's hard to not root for a guy like that, though. That's just like around the rink. I'm sure. I mean, you played every single season. Every single game, every season that you were there. There's that cameraman. But but like, how was your relationship with the coach? I mean, like I said, it's hard to see a kid. Like try to put myself in the coach's shoes, and like I'm running a college program and I see a kid who's working at the rink. I mean, putting up the boards, zamming the ice. It's hard not to root for a kid like that and want him to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was good about it. I mean, towards the end of the season, he'd be like, hey, I think you're working a little bit much. I'm starting to see a decrease in your performance on the ice. Like I think you're working a little too much. I think you need to dial it back. I'm like, dude, I gotta pay my own bills. Like I need to work. And I honestly, I thought I've been playing my best hockey recently. I don't know what you're saying about that. And and like there was that, but I mean, other than that, he was really good about it. I had a good relationship with Danton my last 3 years there at college. I had Anastas my first year, and then Danton my last 3. But yeah, I had a good relationship with him. He was a hard coach to play for, but other than that, he was a good dude, and I thought, and took care of me in that aspect, like as a coach.
And after your senior season, you play one game in the ECHL with Kalamazoo in Michigan. How far is that from your hometown?
Like 2 hours from my hometown, just right across the state.
Okay, so you get a taste of pro. How was that first pro game, first pro experience?
It was like the wildest thing I've experienced. The most time I've ever experienced playing in a hockey game. I don't know what it was, but I got there compared to college. I mean, college is so like dump it in, go bang. Especially my years in college, like basically told, put the puck in the corner, like just forecheck. But my first game pro, the one thing I remember is just how much time I had compared to college. And it was nice for me. I feel like I just was able to play my game a little bit more, use the ice a little bit more, and use my skills a little bit more. So I thought it was a good transition for me.
Yeah.
Minus the guys like you that run around that scared me the first year a little bit. But other than that, I was after my first year, I was all right.
Well, I was just saying first game, but after your first game, that COVID year, that's when you went to the Gaylord Snow for 6 games. But I actually wanted to ask, why only 6 games? Was that like the whole season for them and they got shut down because of COVID or what?
No, that was just all they put on Elite Prospects and Hockey
Oh,
DB.
really?
Yeah. So I didn't go that far. I actually think my brother had more points than me the rest of the season.
Oh,
maybe
really?
that's why they didn't put it up. But
how many games you play, you think?
I think it was around, like, with playoffs, I believe it was around probably like 17, 18 games.
Probably 100 points or what?
It was probably around there. I got invested towards the end. At first it was like, oh, I'm just playing hockey, having fun. And then towards the end in playoffs, I remember we were down to that Muskegon team. They didn't lose a game all year. And I remember coming back to the bench. We got scored on. I took my stick right over the boards, hopped over the bench, grabbed my other stick. The coach told me to sit down. I told him, no, I'm going. Hopped right back over the boards, went and took the face off.
Did you guys score?
No, we lost.
Oh. But what was your mindset like being there? Obviously it was a COVID year, but were you like, for sure I'm gonna play pro next season, and because that one game in Kalamazoo, I feel like I can do really well in the ECHL, or were you like, I'm not sure what's gonna happen here?
I wasn't sure. That was the year Kalamazoo decided not to play. Like, at first they were like, yeah, we're playing. And then last minute they were like, yeah, no, we're not playing. So I'm like, well, hell with that. I'll just go get my real estate license, sell some homes during the COVID year, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll go back and play, maybe not. And I ended up being, as my wife would say, probably the grumpiest asshole you've ever met. So she's like, you're not done yet. I know you well enough. Like, you're not done. So we sold real estate for the year. Kalamazoo, next year, they asked me if I wanted to play again. So I was like, yeah, let's go. I went and played, loved it again. Loved it more than before, honestly.
27 goals, 23 assists, 50 points in 66 games, bro. How could you not love it?
True. Yeah. I just playing the game and just having fun with it just made me a lot more successful. So that was that. And then following year, I ended up getting called up to Chicago, which is,
I actually wanted to ask before you get into that, what was your contract like? I mean, obviously that summer you put up 50 points in 66 games. I mean, were you even thinking like, I can maybe get an American League deal, or do you have an agent, or what were the talks?
Yeah, so I had an agent. It was one of my former buddies that was actually on the podcast, Vince Pedri.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's super good, dude. So he was my agent for, I think it was after my first year. Yeah, like midway through that year of in Kalamazoo, I got him and we were working on something. It was just hard to find, with me not playing the year before and all that too. But he was grinding, trying to get me a deal, and just we couldn't get anything going. But yeah, I was really expecting at that point to get possibly at least a two-way, but just nothing worked out. And I was like, all right, well, let's go back at it and let's do it again and try to get one. And
so you started the year off in KZoo, like on a coast deal, and go from there.
Yeah, it was just, same mindset, just keep playing and keep having fun with the game, and who knows what can happen from there. And from there, I was fortunate enough. It was a week after my birthday there in Kalamazoo, and I got called up and played most of the year there, which was a shock. I was expecting only get a game or two in. They had a bunch of injuries and just ended up sticking, having a good time. And
37 games in Chicago, 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points. I mean, talk about your time there. I mean, it's crazy to think that a year ago you were playing for the Gaylord Snow in the MIHL, and now you're in the American Hockey League, one step below the National Hockey League. So just talk about like how you were feeling. Did that kind of hit you, that perspective? I mean, I'm sure you come from a place of like a humble place, and it seems like, you know, gratitude was instilled in you very early on. So I can imagine you had a minute to sit down and be like, wow, like what a movie this life is, you know?
Yeah. Oh, every day I was thinking about this, and just such a cool experience just to get. A year and a half ago, I was going to not even play, and my wife's telling me, you have to. You're not done. You got more in you, and here I am, and I was playing games in the AHL, and just, I mean, like I said earlier, it's just grateful every day, and guys are gritting their teeth every day in the AHL, and holding their stick too tight because they're so worried about getting to the show. And I was just there having a good time for the most part, and until I started getting a little perturbed there. But that was just me feeling that I deserved a little more at that point, and then I got sent home. But so I mean, that's where I was like, you know what, I really just need to just have fun with it, instead of getting too worked up about that kind of stuff. And
Control the controllables.
yes, exactly. If I can do that, then everything else will be way better, way more enjoyable.
Yes. And in that season, you welcomed your daughter Ireland to the family.
Oh yeah, that was
Talk about having a pregnant wife.
wild ride.
Yes.
Oh
Let's
man,
hear it.
yeah, you can relate to this too. I mean, both you guys. I was up and down 8 times, I believe it was. I was in 13 different hotel rooms in Chicago.
The yo-yo diet.
Oh man.
Up,
Oh
down,
yeah.
up, down, up, down.
Oh yeah. Third floor, first floor, second floor, back down, back up. But yeah, it was crazy. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep you around. All of a sudden, a day later, yeah, you're going home, whatever, blah blah blah. And then I was up in Chicago, and with Reagan being pregnant, and I get they're like, all right, yeah, go home, and because we were getting close to the time of her birth, and they're like, all right, go home back to Michigan, like see it, like hopefully she has the baby in the next week or so. And we have Ireland on March 9th, and within 24 hours after, I don't even think it was 12 hours, I get the call from the GM, and they're like, yeah, we're sending you back. And I'm like, seriously? Like all year, and you guys are sending me back less than a day after I have my daughter? And they're like, yeah, like thank you for everything, blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, well, here we go. Got to go back out to Chicago. Just had my daughter, grab all my shit, and then fly back to Kalamazoo. So went back. Like I drove back. I think it was 2 days after we had Ireland. Grabbed all the stuff from Chicago, moved back into Kalamazoo, and there, Reagan and Ireland are at the apartments in Kalamazoo. I'm like moving all this stuff up. She's organizing stuff, and then 3 days later from there, I'm asking for a trade to get out of Kalamazoo, and we're moving back, or then we're moving down to Florida 10 days after we just had a baby. So
Wow.
Did you guys drive to Florida from Kalamazoo?
did we what?
Did you drive from Florida to Kalamazoo
Oh yeah. So 19-hour drive
with a newborn?
with the newborn, yeah, 10 days after she was born. And so we drove. I flew back because Florida had 3 games in Quebec. So I flew out to Quebec 5 days after she was born, played the 3 games, flew back on day 10. Is the day I flew back, hopped in the car. It was 9:30 in the morning, drove till 2 in the morning, stopped exit before the Florida border, and then drove the rest of the way the next day. And stopping every 2 hours with a wife that's fresh out of labor and a daughter that's fresh out the womb.
Yeah, they gotta feed every 2 hours. Yeah.
Oh man, and 2 pups.
Yeah.
And 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs.
Wow, what a car ride that is. All right, babe, you feed Ireland. I'm going to take the dogs for a walk. I'll be back in 25 minutes.
That's exactly how it was. We'd stop. I'd take the dogs on a little 15-minute walk. She'd feed Ireland, go for a little walk, and then right back in the car. Let's go.
What a good team effort right there. What a
Dude,
No, yeah,
that's a grind people don't know about, man. That's a grind.
it's a wild ride. No one understands really.
They don't. And then you get traded there, and then boom, you're
Hey,
champion.
that's why we're trying to get better sticks in the league and a little more cash for the boys.
Little insurance through the summer. Like, come on, just give me something here.
Oh
Uh,
man.
Talk about though, getting your real estate license while playing. That's very hard to do. And you got your real estate license in Florida. Talk about working while playing professional hockey and kind of balancing your time like that.
I'm
Yeah,
12% in to my license, 12% into the course.
12%. Nice. Keep going. Let me know if you need anything.
How long did it take you?
Well, I did mine. It was like a video course.
Right.
So it took me probably 3 weeks to get through the class. And then I took my class test. And I had the Michigan background or Michigan real estate license as well. So I already had like the background in it, which made it a lot easier.
Right.
But then I just took my state test. It was 2.5 weeks ago. It was like the Tuesday before we won the cup.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. It took a couple weeks, but then I kind of let it slip for a while because I couldn't schedule the test.
Yeah.
And yeah, after like one day finally popped up the Sunday before I took it on Tuesday. Like someone canceled and opened up a spot, and I was like, haven't scheduled in a month, but let's give it a try.
That's a good way to take your head off the game, man.
Yeah, seriously. I played my best game on Wednesday.
Wow. Yeah. No, seriously, that's a great way. I mean, I'm sure you weren't thinking about the playoffs one bit. You're like trying to think of what a mortgage loan is and all this shit.
County lines.
Yeah. None.
No, that's awesome. But man, so 3 weeks it took you to do the course. How many hours a day were you grinding?
It was probably three. Well, depending on the day, probably 3 hours.
Okay.
Road trips were big, just sitting through videos on road trips and getting it done then. Like there was some road trips where I was spending 5-6 hours on the computer just watching videos and taking tests and stuff.
Man, that's the way to do minor league hockey, right? Honestly.
Yeah, I was trying.
For young guys that don't know, I remember when I remember like being a young guy and my rookie season in South Carolina, I had a vet on my team, Justin Florick, who actually played games for the Boston Bruins, and he'd be on calls selling insurance. I don't even remember what his job was. I think it was selling insurance, but he'd be getting on the bus like, yeah, this is what you'd get. This is the coverage, all this stuff. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? And now I'm like,
Right.
why didn't I start doing something back then? It's not like I find also it could help. I mean, like you just mentioned, taking your head off the game for one night, then you play your best game the next day. Sometimes having something outside the game can just help you take your mind off of it and like also grow something on the side and like grow confidence in something else. Like find confidence through another source, and then it can kind of carry in and like you feel good about yourself, carry that into hockey,
Yeah, I totally feel you on that. Like I agree. Like if you're doing something away, like we have so much damn free time. And like if we take advantage of that and like build our knowledge on something else, like you said, the confidence can carry over, and you're forgetting about the game for a couple hours because you're working on something else, like just taking your mind off the game of hockey, and then all of a sudden here you are, you're growing money on the side, you're growing a business on the side. And like it's hard for young guys because we never know where we're going to be at the following year. But once you kind of find a place that you can you want to end your career and maybe make home, then getting that something else on the side to make money. And because that's what I felt was like hardest, just moving all over the place. You couldn't stay steady, you couldn't create something. And then now that at least for me, like now that I found like Florida home, I was able to start building my business here, which is
Yeah,
What else?
I think you should try no matter where you are. Like I think even if you're a guy who's just starting your career and you don't know where you're gonna end up and if you have a home, I still think that you should always try to have something that you're growing on the side. Like maybe
Yeah.
keep that in mind and try to do something that's remote, whether it be a job or whether it be a project that you start. I have a buddy, I'm not even gonna say his name because he hasn't like put it out into a public, but he's been playing pro hockey for I think 3 years, and he started something his senior year of college, like a little project, an app, and it's like not even released yet. It's almost ready for release. And it's an unbelievable project like that he created on his own. He's been chipping away at it for 4 years and now it's going to launch soon. And when it does, I'm going to promote it here. But it's just something where like if you're building something, like we said, it's another source of confidence, it's another source of income. It's just like I don't think there's any negatives to it, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I just had a hard time with it in my earlier days, but I totally agree. Like it's never too early to start something on the side to prepare you for post hockey career. And I mean, us minor leaguers, we don't make a shit ton, so
No.
so anything helps.
In fact, we don't make a shit ton. We make shit.
A lot of shit.
Yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. It's never too early to start. It's not even for post career. It's also for just building yourself up as a person, right? Like we're all people. We're hockey players for sure, but we're all people. And like at the end of the day, like what's it to you? You know, like who are you? Like what do you do? You know, if we as hockey players, we know how much time we have on our hands. Like I don't think it's enough to just be a hockey player. Like it is enough, and you have to do a lot of things. Like it's a full-time job, I agree, but in your free time, if you're a dog, you can start something, you know. You can, when some guys are resting or whatever, like you can rest while starting something on your computer, you know, starting a project at night instead of watching TV. You know, you're reading up on shit, you're starting a little something and just working on your project and creating something, you know.
Right.
So yeah, no, ton of value in that. And so you mentioned or Z mentioned, but you backed it when you were growing up. You were in the basement, you were stick handling, you were doing all these things. Hi Reagan. You were doing all these things. And so I was wondering, now that you have a kid, obviously it's very time consuming being a dad. And so like how do you find ways, and obviously you're working too because you got to supply, you got to keep food on the table for your family. So how do you find ways to continue to work on your game, like in the summers, last summer, this summer, like what are you doing, little hacks for dads that are training?
I try to get my stuff done in the morning before Reagan and Ireland wake up. Like my stretching right away, get it done. If I'm gonna do, usually it was always my last 2 years has always been body weight workouts, just because my back's been in the past was having some issues. But this summer I'm finally getting back into the gym like heavily, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, just get it done early, and then from there I got working an AC job down here in Estero. So I'm staying down here just working AC since it's so damn hot here in Florida, and come home and be a dad from there.
Everyone needs AC down here.
Everyone.
But it's crazy, man. I didn't know that about you. I actually have a tough back. It's been doing great though lately. It was an accident years ago, and I've been doing all body weight stuff. I'm actually creating a body weight program because like that's literally all I do. So because it's all I've done, I've learned so much about like different ways to manipulate body weight to actually build strength and like really get better and see improvements on the ice. So I'm like creating a program like that for kids, like there's a certain age that you can't go to the gym yet. And like at that age, I remember I was still serious about hockey, like working out. So it's kind of catered to that, but also for guys like us that have some injuries and need to continue to get better and train. But that's unreal that you've been hitting body weight. So I'm just curious, what kind of stuff are you doing for body weight? Like, is it a lot of isometric holds? Is it just like 1,000 reps or controlled stuff? Or what are you doing?
I've been more controlled stuff, which this year I wanted to get back more into like my quick twitch stuff. But yeah, I was doing a lot of like more so hold, like as I'm doing my push-ups, holding the down position a lot longer, like doing like three to five counts a lot more. And same thing with heavier on like handstand push-ups or like against the wall, like stuff like that. Just hitting different muscle groups, just like to change the angle and use more of your body weight. Kind of just stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah. I think everyone knows like in body weight, you can do a lot of balance stuff, mobility. But I think people, when they think of strength building, they're like, you need weight until you do 20 controlled push-ups. You know what I mean? Like very controlled push-ups, or even it sounds like nothing, but 20 controlled squats, super controlled, all the way down, all the way up. Man, bagger.
You can get some burns.
Yeah.
People don't realize at all. Like you can beat yourself up more than you realize with just your body weight.
Yes, crazy. I'm glad you brought that up, man. That's awesome. So you're getting up.
Yeah,
what time are you getting up? Because you're getting up before Ireland. I'm assuming she's getting up 7:38 or no?
Recently, no. Like this, well, right now, yeah, she's probably getting up about between 8:30 and 9 at times, just depending on the day. Like these last couple months, we've been really a lot later with like playoffs and stuff still, and these last couple weeks, like doing a little bit more. So like her bedtime has been pushed back like a little bit, along with like her wake up time being pushed back a little bit. So it gives me a little more time in the morning. But I mean, recently I haven't got back into it. So after that was my plan, actually, within the week or two, once I get my some things fixed up on my hand, then I can finally get back into it full speed.
Nice. Yeah, and are you still stick handling?
Not in the apartments. I'm on the second floor, so I don't want to be making chop suey on the kitchen floor with the person below me.
You know what you can do? You can go to that grass area and just walk that circular path. Just head up.
Oh, just head up, stick handling the whole time. Yeah. I've been going rollerblading quite a bit as my my workouts. Just in the morning with the dog, getting up and throwing the rollerblades on and just ripping around the apartment complex a couple times.
That's beautiful, man. Speaking of being a guy that comes from humble beginnings and a place of gratitude. I mean, you're living in Florida now. You're coming from Michigan. I mean, how's the transition been for you and your family?
So first couple months were hard. Like, didn't know if we loved it or not. We liked it a lot, but didn't know if we like loved it to move and call it home. But like this last season, being down here like a full year, like 8 months, like we were like, this is sick. Like this is home. We're living 20 minutes from the beach. We got everything we need, sunny almost every day. Like there's not much better.
No. Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, man. And
especially with the Midwest sun not coming out for 3 months at a time, like.
Yeah, and the perks, and especially with the perks of being a Kelly Cup champ, where I mean, you got free golf. That's why your golf game's pretty good. I mean, I won it, so I'm better. I won it.
You are.
But are you using that golf a lot or not really? Because you're
I haven't. So yeah, just like I don't know, just with Ireland now too, like it's a little bit harder to find the time. So but now like some of the connections I've built up over the last year and a half, I think it's going to get a little bit more, golfing, and it's business, golfing with some buddies, you kind of got to get out and get your name out. So
yeah,
I think I'll finally be able to get out and get my golf game up and maybe be able to beat you next summer at the meeting.
Yeah, we'll have to take them down.
Depends who my partners are. If I'm back with AK and Carlos, you guys don't stand a chance.
Maybe I'll have to recruit AK.
But what about next season? I mean, are you planning to be back with the Blades?
Yeah, so I'm trying to be like Cam now. I'm planning on being a forever Blade as long as Ralphie doesn't kick me to the curb.
That's awesome, man.
I'm hoping. So that's the goal.
All right,
We
Z.
get you guys back down here soon.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna say anything, but yeah, dude.
Let's keep that up.
Awesome. Florida's awesome. But
Yeah.
Z, you got anything else?
No, Lambo, thanks for coming on, dude. This is great. Like
course,
your
guys.
story is honestly very special and a testament to your character, testament to your parents for raising such a good family. And congratulations on your success. And I look forward to you defending the Kelly Cup again next season.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks again for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys.
See you, brother.
See you guys.